So a little while back, I did a video about the block bindings API that came out in WordPress 6.5. It's now coming more in WordPress 6.6. There's been a few good videos out there about it. It's this kind of ability for blocks to not just have content in the blocks, but to like sync that content in other places or sync it in the database or something. It just makes blocks really more powerful because it handles things like custom fields or connecting data. One of the best places you'll see it in action in 6.6 is this synced pattern overrides, I believe is what they're calling right now, but it's basically block patterns, but you can kind of lock the pattern design, but let them update content. And so you can make global changes. It's like just this way where in WordPress now in the block editor, you can just like tie things together and make global changes. So it's really cool. There's some really good videos covering synced patterns. I'm not going to go into that. What I'm going to go into is something that I've been really interested in, which is custom fields in WordPress. So making custom post types and custom fields is pretty critical for most developers. You generally use it to structure content differently, to make content that's more repeatable. So I had done a demo a while back when block bindings first came out, where I made this books custom post type, and we looked at how you could make block bindings. So I've come back to that demo. You can watch it. I'll put a link to it below, but I've actually updated this to use kind of all core features and to show you like what's really changing in 6.6 and where I think this is going to go. So I have a custom post type. It's called books. What I'm going to do is I'm going to add a new post. So already off the bat, you can tell things are pretty different. So this is the WordPress 6.6 where we're seeing a completely different design. We're seeing that site editor design come to all sort of post types and the post editor in general, this really streamlined sidebar, which I really like. And so you can see as I loaded the post type, I already have some content in here. And not only that, the content itself has this lock icon. So it's locked. It can't be removed or deleted or moved. It's just going to sit there. And then they can add, additional content below. This is already something that's super handy, which is making your custom post types really locked to a template, something that was really easy to do with like ACF and like the non-block editor custom post types. But I really want to see us be able to do all of this and still look at the block editor. So what we're looking at here is this new book that I've added and this content that's already in there by default. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to edit the title. And what you'll see is that when you edit the title, this is actually called a post title block. It's going to edit the actual title of the post that you're looking at. And this is super handy because, we're going to reach a day where not every, post and page has this like title area up here that's just not helpful because it doesn't match the design, that sort of stuff. It's, whatever. So I'm excited for when that day comes. So my template has a title field right here, and I might type in the name of a book. And you can see it updates it here. It updates it up here. It even updates it over here on the side. Any of these updates happen pretty instantly. I'll move out of that. You can just see the changes happening because, block editor is a big giant React app. So it can do these sort of like instantaneous changes. So eventually we'll get to a place where you won't even see the title. And if you want like a sneak preview of that, you can actually do it under template options. Now you can hit this show template, and instead of showing like the more generic block editor, it'll actually show you the whole post template. So like I'm seeing the header, I'm seeing the footer, I'm seeing this content here that's part of the template, not part of the content. And then I can only edit the content. I can't really mess with this stuff, but it kind of shows it. So this is, I think, where we're eventually going, where you're going to edit stuff and it's just going to be here in the block editor. But I'm going to just hide that. Let's just stick with just looking at the content right now. So that's the post title. That's that same kind of idea of like binding data, but now we can do it with custom fields. To make it easier, I actually put my custom fields in the sidebar here so that you could see what they are. There's 3 fields: the ISBN number, the URL for Amazon, and a URL for Goodreads. You can see I have the content here. So I have the ISBN number and it's 001. If I come in here and I start changing it, you'll see that in the sidebar here, it's going to instantly change because it's pulling all the data from one place. So when the user comes in, they can just edit the content right here, and then it's going to get saved as a postmeta field. So later I can do queries or I can do like fun, fancy things, but all they feel like is, hey, I just edited some content. Same thing with these links. They can change the text of the button, which I don't personally care about in this case. Maybe I would want that locked down. Also, maybe I would want to globally control that. I could bind that as well. I just didn't in this case, but you can see they can edit the link here. And if they hit edit, maybe they want to update the URL, and I hit save. I'm going to update the URL here, which is the actual custom field that's saving the data. So you can start to see how this is very powerful. They can't really get rid of a lot of this stuff. They can kind of can't move it around, but they can mess with it, and then they can just add the rest of their content. So it's really kind of showing the power of what it looks like to mix design and content, which I know people get really mad about and they really don't like, but I think we're going to get to a place where this stuff is really structured and powerful, and the editing experience will be much better instead of showing, hey, some custom field. And then once you actually start to see it, I'm going to put that template view back on. Once we get to this place where whenever a user is editing content, they always get to see what it looks like on the front end, it's going to be super cool because this is part of the footer for all of the book post types. And again, it's all connected. So when I edit one, it's editing the other one. Like, it's all just synced together. So it's just really cool, really fun to get to see that kind of coming to life in this first version of the block bindings API. So real quick, how did I accomplish this? I'm going to show you some code. I'm not going to go line by line, but I want to give you a sense of how this stuff is built in. There's no plugins running or anything like that. This is pretty vanilla WordPress. So this will be all on GitHub, but I'll show you. This is just a plugin. This is the same plugin I actually used last time in the previous video, but I've just updated a little bit. So we're registering a post type, and there's not much different except you can see that there's this template argument right here. And this template argument for registering a post type basically lets you say the exact blocks that you want in that structure. So if you see here, I have like a group, I have the lock turned on, I have some spacing presets in there, I have a background color set, I have my post title block. So this is literally just showing you exactly this template that I put in ahead of time. Sometimes it'll be this long. Sometimes I just reference a pattern block and I just say, hey, start with this pattern. I don't put like everything in here, but it is super handy. You can see where I've added the ISBN like block, and you can see where this is like that block binding stuff. So it's all kind of like in here. But again, like, I didn't really write this code. I actually used a tool. It's pretty handy. It's this tool where you literally just copy the blocks and then you go to it and you paste it. So I'll clear this out. When you paste in whatever you copied, this is like the HTML markup from the block editor, and you can convert it to like a PHP array, or you can convert it to JavaScript. Sometimes we use that for custom blocks and things, but this is a handy tool. But essentially we're getting to the place where I could go to any website. I could copy and paste these blocks. I could copy and paste this whole pattern. I could save it as a pattern. I could save it as a synced pattern. Like, there's all these different options. I think it's very confusing for a lot of people because nobody really knows like the right way to do all of this, but it's because all these competing things are sort of unfinished. But in the last few releases of WordPress, we're starting to see where they're kind of coming together and making more of a cohesive vision. So let's go back to the code. So this is all just part of registering the post type. I just put in this template. You may or may not see that very often. It's kind of a newer feature, but it's just a way to, when someone makes a new post in a post type, start them off with some content and maybe lock it as well. Then I registered my 3 post meta fields. This is, core WordPress function right here, registering some post meta. I tell it my post type, what I want the meta field, and all this. What's nice is now it's added to the REST API. Everything's under the hood. It's saved in the database. It sanitizes, it does all that for me. I don't have to think about that. I just have my post types right here. And then that was really basically it. I did add some JavaScript and stuff here, and that was just for the ability to show the settings right here. You don't have to do that. I kind of like it. Technically, I think there's like the old school custom fields panel, but I like to just register my custom fields in a nice little sidebar. If you are curious, I'll just give you a quick glimpse of what that JavaScript looks like. It's not too bad, 55 lines. I think we're getting to a place where this will be a lot easier going forward. But if you are working with JavaScript, the fact that I can add custom fields, custom post meta fields to the sidebar of my post with 55 lines of code, honestly is pretty good, I think. I think it's like not that terrible, but again, I would actually love to see this get even more simplified because I think half of the battle is just figuring out what all this stuff is. But yeah, so that's really kind of all the code that's happening here. I'm registering post type, registering a post meta. This stuff is all built in, and I just added some fields. And so at the end of the day, as my users create their content, they're going to be able to start seeing this example. I'm going to turn off the preview where, there's custom fields that we need them to fill out. There's some structured data I need, maybe I'm doing a team members post type and I need their name and their email address and their, phone number, but I just don't want them to have to go and fill out a bunch of fields if they don't want to. They can just come in, populate it, drop some images in, it all gets set, and it's going to be pretty handy. So I hope this gets you excited. WordPress 6.6 is a big step. The main big step is the fact that you can actually edit the block bindings in the editor and it saves it to the database. That's new, that's exciting. And this with synced patterns, I think we're 1 or 2 releases away from having a really thorough, complete solution for custom post types with custom fields, all completely inside the block editor and super user-friendly and intuitive. If you have any questions about this, or you want to see a more specific demo or take a look at the code, just leave something in the comment below. And if you are interested in this kind of modern WordPress development, I did release a video series recently. You have to go to briancords.com/7tools to subscribe to it, and you get 1 video a day for a week. And it just kind of shows a lot of these tools that modern WordPress developers are using to, write code, build their sites, test performance, time-saving techniques, all that sort of stuff. So let me know if you have any questions and like this video if this was helpful.